Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Monday. We are back from the weekend with 3 hours of sports talk on the sports voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our video streams on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News. However you are tuning into the program today, thanks so much for being with us. You can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us on 580 Sports Talk, and for that, we are grateful. We'll make it worth your while. We'll have a funky good time on this Monday afternoon. I say we, it's just me for now. My name is Dan Lucero. I am your host. Spencer Dupuis will be along in a bit. Brendan Wrzinski is off today. He was a busy boy at MIAA Football Media Days today. Be on the lookout on our website, 580WIBW.com, for some Washburn football content from MIAA Football Media Days earlier today. And we are jam-packed today. Folks, it is all happening. You know the Chiefs are in camp. The pads are on. You know K-State, KU, college football's less than a month away. You know they're in camp. But boy, that was an eventful weekend for the Kansas City Royals. It was an eventful 24 hours for the Kansas City Royals. Call it 48. They didn't play on Friday, so just include Saturday and Sunday. What an eventful weekend in which they did on field the thing they needed to do to feel like they were still a part of the wild card chase. But things happened to their roster to make it less likely that they can achieve their goal of reaching the playoffs. So then they turned around and gave Seth Lugo a contract extension. What a 48 hours for the Royals. We're going to break it all down on the show. And, of course, we will preview the first of three the Royals have with the Atlanta Braves tonight at Kauffman Stadium. First pitch, 6:40, so we'll have pregame coverage right when we're done here on 580 Sports Talk at 6 o'clock. We'll pass the baton to the Royals Baseball Network. Call it a contrast in styles in the starting pitching matchup tonight between hard-throwing right-hander Spencer Strider and Rich Hill, who is the opposite of both of those things. That should be fun. Be a fun pitching matchup to watch tonight. Lots of Royals baseball to get to on the program today, but of course, plenty of football. The pads, as I mentioned, are on at Royals camp. Chiefs camp. Jalen Royals is there. It's his camp. He's camping with the Royals, or with the Chiefs. God bless it. This is going to be hard. This is the hardest time of the year to do this job when both teams are making big headlines. It's Chiefs camp. The pads are on. It's getting more and more difficult to keep a lid on the Josh Simmons hype. He's looking good. He's going to be the left tackle. I'm just telling you right now, barring a setback, he's the guy. He's the one. We'll hear from Matt Nagy. He spoke to the media earlier today at Chiefs camp, so we'll hear from the Chiefs offensive coordinator what he had to say as camp continues for the three-time defending AFC champs. Also, Kris Klieman spoke to the media earlier today at K-State camp. First time we've heard from the Wildcat head coach this offseason, and we'll play you some of that as well. He spoke for 25 minutes. We won't play the whole thing, but a handful of select cuts from Kris Klieman we'll play for you a little bit later on in the show today. And we've got two great guests on the show. Matt Verderam will join us at the bottom of this hour, NFL insider from Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Training camp in full swing around the league. We'll get Matt's thoughts on what's happening at Chiefs camp and what is happening elsewhere in the National Football League. Matt Verderam joined us at the bottom of this hour. And then, folks, they're back in the 5 o'clock hour, 5:25. Set your alarms. Training camp reports with Mitch Holthus are back on 580 Sports Talk for the next month. Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, will be joining us 5:25. We'll shift the time if we're off early. We'll make it shake. Mitch Holthus will be joining us, courtesy of Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union. We will hear from the voice of the Chiefs every day on the program through the rest of training camp in the preseason as we get ready for the 2025 Chiefs campaign. So excited to have Mitch, who, of course, is a 580 WIBW alum, as if you need me to tell you that. Oh, so excited to have Mitch joining 580 Sports Talk starting today and continuing on for the next month. So stick and stay for that at 5:25 today. And, of course, all the typical Friday or Monday shenanigans. My brain is fried. I blame the heat. Frankly, I blame the heat. My egg is scrambled. It's a Monday. We've got all our Monday shenanigans on the show today. We got 580 Sports Talk headlines. We'll start a new short week on What Is Wrong With You. It'll be today and tomorrow that we'll have competition for a short week. Then we'll have our semifinals, time permitting, on Wednesday. Royals have a day game on Wednesday, but we should be able to get What Is Wrong With You in on Wednesday. Our semifinals for July, and then our championship round on Thursday to crown a July champ. It's been a great month of What Is Wrong With You, so looking forward to the semis and the championship on What Is Wrong With You later this week. We'll do good, bad, ugly from the weekend that was as well. And, of course, your interactions with the program. Look forward to hearing from you. How was your weekend? How you guys doing on this Monday? Has the heat scrambled your brain as much as it has clearly scrambled mine? It ain't the heat, really. It's the humidity, if you've been outside. Hit us up on the text line. 785-272-9429 is the number. 785-272-9429. You can also jump in the chat if you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. There is a chat function on the web browser, youtube.com, or on the app on your mobile device of choice. And you're signed into YouTube and subscribed, hopefully, to our YouTube channel. If you're not, rectify that. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, 580 Sports Talk. And once you're in and watching the live show, you can interact with yours truly. You can interact with the rest of your fellow listeners and be a part of driving the conversation on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube page. A hearty good afternoon to those who are already into the chat. Christopher first in today. Hello to you. Hello to Vance. Coach Gonzo's in. Great to see him. Mark H. Paul. Great to see all of you. Look forward to hearing from more of you as we go along. Again, the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. I had to rewrite the top of the show this morning. I would have done it late last night, but it took some getting my son to bed last night, so I was a little tired. I didn't want to rewrite the whole top of the show last night. But in full disclosure, in the interest of full disclosure, I had planned to talk, to lead off this Monday edition. I had planned to be something of a Debbie Downer. I had planned for this to be something of a requiem for the Royals' playoff chances, a eulogy, perhaps, for the Royals' season or for their playoff contending chances. And not for anything they did on the field, because the Royals did the thing they had to do on the field this weekend: win the series from the Cleveland Guardians. It took some unexpected heroics from Jonathan India in the first game of the doubleheader on Saturday. Of all the guys on that roster hit a walk-off home run, set Tyler Tolbert aside because he's the obvious answer, but is anybody more unlikely to hit a walk-off home run off of baseball's best closer, Emmanuel Clase? More on him when we get to headlines. I say no. I say that was as unlikely a walk-off home run source as the Royals have on their roster, with Tyler Tolbert the obvious exception. And he yacked that ball to win in the 10th inning in the first game on Saturday. Royals would drop the nightcap, but rebound for a 4-1 win yesterday. Noah Cameron, 5 stellar innings, no runs allowed. Royals were able to turn an early threat into a pair of runs. Michael Garcia homered later in the game. The boys in blue made it stand up for the 4-1 win and the series win they needed. And I said on Friday, if the Royals win this weekend series, full steam ahead for J.J. Piccolo and the front office. Go make something happen at the trade deadline. Go add to this roster. The number of teams you are realistically competing with for a playoff spot is shrinking. You're only 4 out. That's a hot week. Give your team a chance. Go and give Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez and all these guys, go give them a chance. That's what I wanted to say today. And then Kris Bubic hit the injured list. And I could not any longer say that this team, as presently constructed, even if there were a major upgrade to be made on the trade deadline, whether that was to the offense or to the pitching staff, I did not believe this team had the juice to make a real run at the playoffs. Kris Bubic is probably, I hate to be the downer here again, but it's a rotator cuff injury. It's the same kind of injury that Cole Reagans has had, which means even if you get the best possible diagnosis for the injury, which remember, that's what Cole Reagans got. When he went on the IL early in June, it was viewed as a best case scenario. There was nothing in there that needed surgery. It was just stiffness. It was soreness, tightness, however you want to phrase it. But it was the best possible outcome for that possible injury. We haven't seen Cole Reagans on a mound. And we are probably not, at least according to Ann Rodgers' reporting, probably not going to see Cole Reagans pitch a major league game until late August at the earliest. And if you do the math on that being 2.5, nearly 3 months on the shelf, then even in a best case scenario with the injury, I would call it very unlikely that Kris Bubic is going to throw another pitch for the Kansas City Royals this year. And that's your all-star. That's the guy who's been your best lefty with Reagans on the shelf, a breakout success story for your starting rotation this year, somebody you've been able to rely on to keep you in games, that it was so shocking when he struggled against Cleveland on Saturday in the nightcap of that doubleheader, because he hadn't had outings like that. And then for him to come off the mound and be honest with the media after the game, say, hey, something's not right. And something isn't right. And now Kris Bubic is on the shelf. And if we see him again, it's going to be late September at the earliest, based on the timeline for a pitcher, a teammate with a very similar injury. And again, that's the best case scenario. Which means that for the foreseeable future, because Michael Lorenzen is still on the shelf, and the latest word there is he's going to need at least one rehab start before he's back in the rotation. And Cole Reagans still out for another month, in all likelihood. That means your Kansas City Royals starting rotation going forward, a team that is 4 games out of a playoff berth entering today. Your starting rotation, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, Noah Cameron, 45-year-old Rich Hill, and a big old shrug of the shoulders. And that doesn't feel like the pitching rotation of a team that can make a run to me. So it was time, I thought, for J.J. Piccolo to be pragmatic, to be honest about what that meant for 2025 and say, you know what? It's time to make the hard decision. It's time to make the hard decision with Seth Lugo and see what we can get for him. He might be the best pitcher available on the open market. Let's see if we can't fortify a farm system that is lagging behind the Royals' peers. It's a bottom 10 farm system, pretty much any way you slice it. And that was the opening segment I was going to do today. And then the Royals gave Seth Lugo a 2-year contract extension. In case you have missed the details, they're out there. The details on the contract extension for Seth Lugo. It's for 2 years, 2026 and 2027, at $20 million a year. That's about what I would have predicted he would have gotten as a free agent on the open market, if not even a tick higher. There is a vesting option for a third season, 2028, that would automatically vest if he hits a certain innings pitched threshold over the next 2 seasons. So if he continues to be durable and pitch a bunch for the Royals, then that extension kicks in, that third year, automatically $20 million for that third year. If it does not automatically vest, the Royals have a $17 million club option to keep Lugo for 2028. And if Seth Lugo's not worth keeping at that or any price, the Royals have $3 million to buy out that final year. Add a $3 million signing bonus, and what you have is a 2-year extension, guaranteed 2 years, and a guaranteed $46 million. Now, the peripheral numbers that we talk about on this show, batted ball data, rate stats, they're a little skeptical of Seth Lugo this year. He's striking out fewer batters. He's giving up more home runs and giving up more loud contact. He is not as good as he was last year, even if the ERA is every bit as shiny. He has probably been a little luckier than good here in 2025. But even if Seth Lugo is just a steady and durable mid-rotation starter over the life of the contract and not a Cy Young vote getter, the Royals paid the going rate for a guy like that. And they didn't have a choice. If they wanted to be a good team, if they wanted to make a run at contending in 2026 and 2027, they had to do this. There's no help on the way in the Royals minor leagues. For all the success of Noah Cameron's development, and it is worth celebrating, there's nothing else worth getting excited about at the high minor level for the Royals, barring an unexpected breakout for somebody like Ben Caderna or Frank Mazzucato. And look, those guys have been pros for a while. If it was going to happen, you kind of feel like it would have happened by now. There's not help on the way like Noah Cameron was able to help this year's team from the high minor leagues. The guys who are worth getting excited about in the Royals system are by and large at A ball or high A, and those guys are 2 years away from even being thought to be able to contribute to the Kansas City Royals. So any way you slice it, going into 2026, if the Royals intend to be good in 2026, they were going to go into that season short a starting pitcher. If Seth Lugo had opted out of his contract or if they had traded him, they would have had Cole Reagans, Kris Bubic, Michael Wacha, Noah Cameron lined up. That's four. That's good four. That's a good start to a rotation. They were going to need a fifth. Well, now they got a fifth. Now they've got a fifth. They've added a pitcher and maintained his services. They're familiar with him. He wants to be there. And they beat everybody else to the market, and health permitting, which is always the case with pitchers to the point where it's not even really worth saying, they're set up well for 2026. And this is where I say, look, yes, the pragmatic thing to do is be honest about what your team is. And this Royals team, especially losing Bubic, likely for the rest of the way, don't have the feel of a playoff team right now. They don't. And if you're honest about your team and they don't have a chance at making a run, your best bet is to be a seller at the trade deadline. That's the responsible thing. And that's the thing that front offices in Arizona, who, by the way, when Arizona traded Randall Grichuk to the Royals, and a quick thought on that, okay, that's fine. Randall Grichuk hits lefties pretty well. He's a platoon partner for Kyle Isbell, Caglianone when he returns from his own injury. For John Ray, he's a right-handed complement to a very left-handed outfield. I'm okay with that trade. I don't think it costs the Royals anything of real value. A quad A arm and Andrew Hoffman, that's a fine deal. But the Diamondbacks had the same exact record as the Royals when they made that trade, and the Diamondbacks said, "Nah, we're sellers. We're tearing it down. We can't do this. We don't view ourselves as a contender." That's a front office, and Minnesota's got a front office. And Cleveland's got a front office that's got to tell their fans, hey, we can't make a run at it, so we got to add some pieces so the next time we are ready to make a run at it, these guys are going to help our big league club. The reality of the situation for the Royals is if they want to be good in 2026, if they want to be good in 2027, if they want to maximize Bobby Witt Jr.'s prime and whatever is left of Salvador Perez's career, they kind of got to be all in. And all in looks like giving Seth Lugo a 2-year contract extension. But it doesn't just look like that. And it definitely doesn't just look like trading for Randall Grichuk and Adam Frazier. This team still isn't good enough as presently constructed. It's not. A playoff run this year, I've been giving you the playoff odds throughout. And I'll go to Fangraphs real quick, so I can tell you what the updated playoff odds are going into today's action. 12.5% chance, 1 in 8, that the Royals make the playoffs. Those aren't real good odds. And those odds don't know that Kris Bubic is probably out for the season. So I don't even think the odds are that good. But if you want to be competitive, if the idea is for the Kansas City Royals, and this is the idea of J.J. Piccolo, and this is the idea of ownership, is that the Royals want to be good in 2026. They want to put a competitive team on the field because they feel they owe that to Bobby Witt Jr. They owe that to Salvador Perez. Or, like I talked about on Friday, they owe it to you, the fan, because how much crappy baseball have they asked you to swallow since 1986? And how many times have they told you, the fan, we're going to trade guys now so that we get players who can contribute to our next championship team? And then that never happened but once. One time it worked. And the reason it worked, because it also coincided with an incredible hot streak, both in the draft and signing internationally. And the Royals accumulated the kind of talent that they needed to accumulate. They had the number one farm system in baseball, and they turned that into back-to-back pennants. The Royals do not presently have the number one farm system in baseball. There is no wave of talent coming up. Who's coming up that's going to impact the big league club in 2026? Carter Jensen, maybe, if you squint. I don't know, man. He's striking out a lot at AAA. I know he's hitting the ball a far away. That's good. He's also striking out in over a third of his bats, and that's bad. You do that at AAA, what's it going to look like in the majors? It's not there. The wave of talent, it's not there. There is nothing supplementing the current core that is on the way. So if the Royals are going to be good, if they have decided we want to compete, we want to put the best baseball team on the field, we do not want to flounder for 4 months and then use the year as an excuse to sell off some veterans and rebuild our farm system, then be ready to tear that farm system down a little further. If a team calls and says, we've got an outfielder with multiple years of team control, but we want Carter Jensen, don't hang up. Make the deal. If there's a team out there with a starting pitcher, if there's a team out there with a second baseman, somebody you can keep through 2025 and into the next year or two, don't hang up. Make the move. Nobody in the minor league system should be untouchable. If you're going all in, be all in. Be all in for 2025 and maximize of this year what is possible to maximize. And then do it again in 2026 and do it again in 2027. And I will say this, to the Royals' credit, there are a lot of teams in the Royals' financial situation, let's call it that, smaller market teams, small to mid-market teams, who love to tell their fans, losing now means we can win later. And you can take it from me because I root for one of them. I've rooted for one of them my whole life. And they'll tell you that. They'll make that excuse. And then they won't go out and really try to be competitive, really strike while the iron is hot. The Royals have decided, the extension of Seth Lugo makes it clear, the Royals have decided we're trying to win. We're trying to win right now. We're trying to win for the next 2 years. The problem with that is you're still not good enough. So go get good enough. Go get better. It can't stop here. And you know what? If that's the path, if that's the direction, I applaud the Royals for the intent, even if it doesn't work. Because I would always rather see a team try to win and fail than expressly build a team where you don't really care how they come out. And if they lose, great. That means we don't have to pay any of these guys when they get expensive, and we can sell our fans on the idea that losing now means winning later. You, the Royals fan, have done enough of that for 40 years. Now you've got an ownership group and a front office who says, hey, look, it's a long shot right now. It's not great odds, but we're going to give it everything we've got. And then next year, we're going to give it everything we've got because we've got a beloved captain in his waning years of his career, and we've got one of the 5 best players in baseball. And when he's healthy, we might have one of the 5 best pitchers in baseball. But we're going to give it a run. Isn't that more fun? Even if it is a fruitless endeavor in the end, isn't that a hell of a lot more fun? Let's take a time out here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll come back with the good, bad, the ugly from the weekend that was here on 580 WIBW. Let's do the good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend that was. Spencer Dupuis, what was your good?
My good here. Sorry, getting adjusted to the board for a second. My good was did the old Happy Gilmore double feature on Friday night.
Okay.
Olivia hadn't seen the full movie.
Okay.
She had just seen it on TV.
Interesting.
And I was like, you know what? Let's watch the full first movie. And then it was great because they did so many callbacks that you like remembered that happened. Instead of like, oh yeah, I think that was in the first movie. Instead, we just watched it like an hour.
See,
before.
I've seen the first one so many times. I don't think they could get anything by me. I haven't watched the second one yet. Say the least, reviews have been mixed. I don't think there are people out there who are writing a review of Happy Gilmore 2 reviewing it as like a piece of cinema. Feels like you're kind of missing the point, maybe willfully if you do that. But
yeah, I mean, I would say there was a meaning to this movie. Like it all tied in family.
See, I don't need a meaning to Happy Gilmore. I did see a tweet out there that was like, oh no, this is somebody I knew on Facebook. He's like, you completely ruined everything the first movie was about in the first 15 minutes. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so there is a big twist. Like it was a really unexpected twist.
Okay, all right. Well,
I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right, yeah,
that was my good. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It lived
Good.
up to like the funniness, and Travis Kelce was great in it, I think.
All right, yeah.
Also, Ed Kelce
reviews.
was in the movie, and it was pretty cool.
Good reviews for Travis Kelce's performance all the way around. That's one thing everybody can agree on. My good, there are some weekends it's really good to own a pool. This is one of them. We got Asher out in the pool a couple days. One day, my wife and I got to be in the pool while Asher napped. He had some family over, share the pool. It was a good weekend to have a pool because, oh, my bad humidity. Man, I'm not joking. I don't think I've ever experienced more humidity in my life than I did this weekend. I've lived here long enough to know it gets humid here, but like with the rain that we had earlier in the week, the humidity was oppressive this week. Like that I'll never fully get used to it as somebody who grew up at 5,280 feet above sea level. So my bad is the humidity, I suppose, but it was good. Good weekend to be a pool owner, that's for sure. Good weekend to get in the pool.
I bet. My bad. It was a good but a bad. So I bought this hat that I'm wearing right here off of eBay like 2 months ago, a month ago. Is a vintage Marshall hat. Well, it was literally vintage.
Yeah.
Like the strap broke immediately upon picking it up. So I ordered new straps. Tried to do it myself. Tried to have my dad do it when I went home. It wouldn't happen. So we found somebody that does stuff here locally.
Well, good.
It was good, except for the thing's done inside out.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I can't really wear it like this.
Can't wear it backwards.
It looks very weird.
That's all right. I don't think you wear snapbacks backwards anyway, right?
That's true.
You got to wear it forwards. Yeah. My ugly is Kris Bubic injury. What a bummer. Great season, all-star season, and probably over timeline-wise, but that's a bummer.
Yeah, I guess the weather being so hot, it's the ugly.
Hot and humid. Yeah, that's tough. Matt Verderam next on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Matt Verderame, our NFL insider from Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Also appears on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network and has his own subscriber-only Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show, that you should check out and subscribe to. Matt, Chiefs camp is a week old, and I have only one question from what we've seen from Chiefs camp so far. Who will be introducing Josh Simmons for his Hall of Fame speech in Canton?
Yeah, I mean, at the rate he's going, maybe he'll have the honor. Seems like it would be fitting. Like he's obviously been, to use the terminology of the day, he's looked the part. I mean, I have not been out to camp yet. I'll be out. In fact, I'm literally driving to Colts camp right now. I'll be out there next week. But every rep you see, everybody you talk to, everybody you text with around the team. I mean, hey, look, this guy is doing things at left tackle that they couldn't have dreamed of when they drafted him, and hoped like, hey, maybe he's healthy by the time the season starts. And here we are. Look, there's a long way to go, and he is coming off a serious injury, and he's got to go out and stay healthy week after week. He's got to prove it in preseason games, but obviously he has been everything they could have dreamed of up to this early point.
A lot of talk from camp, and you figure there would be talk from camp. Patrick Mahomes, Matt Nagy, all saying the right things about wanting to be more explosive on offense this year, going over the top more often, trying the deep ball, all of those things. Do you think some of that is a result of going into this camp maybe with more confidence in the tackle position than they might have had in a couple of years, given what they've seen already from Simmons, the established floor with the signing of a guy like Jalen Moore? Do you think that there is a confidence with this Chiefs offense that it can get back to a little bit closer to the version of what it's been in past years?
Yeah, look, I mean, last year they wanted to do all this deep passing stuff, and it didn't work out because they got hurt immediately. Rice was hurt the first quarter of week 4. If memory serves, I think Hollywood Brown, wasn't he hurt the first drive of the first preseason game?
First play.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like you said, he's out. And then obviously, listen, the left tackle spot, you're sitting there going into it, well, maybe it'll work out. It's a total disaster. So the intentions were the same last year, and it was a tire fire. This year, again, you got to hope for better health. You would imagine they're just going to have better health. But I don't think there's any question. Like, if Simmons is even 80% of what he looks like right now, I don't think they're going to have any hesitation to say, look, we're going down the field. And if we got to keep it up back every once in a blue moon to chip on the right side, fine. But I don't think, I don't think that would stop them from going down the field. Like, they know they have to. Last year was painful to watch at times offensively. I mean, even more so than the year prior, because the year prior was really about them dropping the ball. Last year was just, they could not do anything down the field unless it was the worthy here and there. And so, look, they know, Mahomes know, like they want to get the ball down the field. And yeah, if Simmons is what he looks like to this point, yes, I think that will be, I would not be surprised if in week 1, if they're trying to go down the field over and over to just make a point more than anything else.
Matt Verderame is our guest, our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. Simmons not the only rookie making some noise and repping a lot with the starters so far at Chiefs camp. Omar Norman-Lott has seen a lot of time in the defensive line. Jalen Royals has gotten plenty of reps at wide receiver. Mahomes is throwing to him quite a bit during 11-on-11s today. I think he was the main top guy targeted by Mahomes in 11-on-11s. Ashton Gelati getting some more reps with the ones. Noel Williams has run with the ones. Is this a rookie class that has the potential to be really impactful for the Chiefs in year 1 for these guys?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I think Simmons is the obvious leader. We've all acknowledged that, talked about that. Norman-Lott was a guy that there were a lot of mixed reviews on him nationally. And look, I'm the dope who was like, I wouldn't take Simmons because I'm terrified of his knee injury. And so far, it looks like he's going to be Willie Rowe.
That makes 2 dopes for the record, Matt. So don't feel too bad.
I still get people who tweet me who are like, idiot. And I'm like, you got a point. Yeah, it's not unreasonable. But Norman-Lott was a guy, I am never going to profess to be somebody who sits there and watches college football every second of every day because I'd be divorced. But I actually saw quite a bit of Norman a lot when he played at Tennessee, because if I do watch during the day, it's typically going to be the SEC. And I really remember thinking, like, this guy is a pass rusher. He's just, when he's on the field, stuff happens. He had 9.5 sacks his last 2 years at Tennessee, and he never played half the snaps. And so, look, I'm not surprised that he went in there to a group that, take Chris Jones out of it for a second. It's who exactly? I mean, Mike Pinnell's your run stuffer, and he's going to be that. But then it's Jerry Tillery, and it's a lot of question mark. You know, you're going to rotate Dan and Amena, who in there at times are going to reduce that. But I'm not surprised that Norman Lott's getting a lot of attention. I think he could play. Noel Williams, I think the question just comes down to how quickly do they get a healthy Christian Fulton. You know, that's going to be a question mark there. If they don't get him back early, yeah, I think, look, he's going to have a shot to make some waves. And then Royals, again, it kind of depends. Like, does Rashee Rice get suspended? I think we all believe that he's going to be suspended for some length of time. If he does, okay, you've got Worthy, you've got Brown, but then you kind of have this open spot, and Royals kind of, at least in theory, has a similar skill set to Rice. You know, do they play him? Do they play Juju? Right? I think that's kind of the question. But yeah, I do think that this rookie class, maybe more than we all anticipated in early May, like, they might actually be carving themselves a pretty nice little niche for the 2025 Chiefs.
We're joined by Matt Verderem of Sports Illustrated here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. And Matt, we all know Andy Reid kind of detailed what Christian Fulton was dealing with over the weekend during his press availability about his knee injury. But it seems like the cornerback core is doing pretty well, especially for the bad tape that Najee Johnson put out last year. He seems to be doing pretty well in camp. I know camp is camp, but do you think that maybe being a year off of his ACL injury, that he could actually help this defensive back group?
Yeah, I mean, that's the case, right? I mean, you said it, is that, listen, he, you know, a lot of times coming off the ACL, guys aren't 100% the first year. And that's going to be the question on Rice. Like, is he the guy? Now, he's looked great in camp. And according to everybody, he's been dynamite his entire rehab process. But that is the hope for Najee Johnson. Hey, look, young guy coming off the ACL. You know, what does he look like this year? I will tell you the guy I am most interested in terms of the unproven guys. I mean, we know what McDuffie is. We know what Watson is Roland Wallace. Because Roland Wallace can play inside. And Tamari Connor, I honestly, like, I'm not down on Tamari Connor at all. I think he's a useful player, but I think he's more of a safety. I think that's really where his skill set is. And you can drop down in the box occasionally and do some things here and there, and you can win some matchups because he has versatility. But he's not a one-on-one slot corner. That's just not. He doesn't have the hips for it. He's not quite fast enough. Roland Wallace is interesting because he has shown at times when he's gotten on the field in real games like last year, he was pretty proficient, and he's been good in camp to this point. And you just wonder, like, if they play McDuffie outside with Watson here and there, especially if Fulton isn't 100% yet, do you go with Roland Wallace inside? Is that something you explore? Or do you say, look, if Christian Fulton's not there, we feel that Johnson improved, and we're going to try him and Noel Williams and Joshua Williams across from Watson and keep McDuffie inside? So that is an open question. Look, I think that the thought is that Fulton's going to be back in time and he'll be ready to go. But if he's not, then yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways we could go about it.
And you mentioned Tamari Connor there. It seems like he's getting a little bit of run at safety ahead of Jaden Hicks. Jaden Hicks was really good last year for the Chiefs down the stretch. Do you think that the former 4th-round pick last year kind of gets jumped over by Connor?
No, I think Hicks, there's a reason they played Hicks basically, 70+% of the snaps in all the playoff games. I mean, he was really good. I would say this to anybody out there, a fan of the team listening, trying to understand why they're doing what they're doing. This is normal stuff in training camp. These teams, most teams, not every team, but most teams, certainly Chiefs and Bucs, they're going to rotate guys in. They want to put guys in different situations, get different looks, try to figure out, hey, is there something here? Is there not something here? Maybe just give a guy, hey, look, we want to see you for 10 snaps with this guy. We want to see, how do you jive? If a guy's missing a game, what will it look like? They want to try to do all those things. But in the end, I think, common sense is common sense. Like if you said to me right now, they're in the nickel package. Who are their starters? If Fulton's there, we already know the corners are, and they have to get Dixon Cook. I still think it's Dixon Cook no matter what, with Edwards and Connor rotating in is a pretty deep safety room. But then I think it's probably going to be, hey, look, if Fulton's not there, then it could be Roland Wallace inside. It could be Connor inside. It could be McDuffie staying inside, and they bring in Najee Johnson. So I think they just want to get everybody reps with that team, that first team, that they know it could potentially be something that happens at some point. You don't want to go into it just with zero reps.
Our guest joining us is Matt Verderam from Sports Illustrated, SI.com. He's our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk. A couple more questions for Matt as we turn our attention away from the Chiefs. Christian Wilkins is no longer a Las Vegas Raider, and that story got super weird today with the leak of a story out of the locker room that apparently he kissed a teammate on the forehead or something, and the teammate got offended by it, and that's a whole to-do. Certainly there's going to be some mudslinging here because Wilkins has fired a grievance against the team trying to get some of that money back that the Raiders have voided. But as far as Wilkins, the player, when we last saw him on a regular basis, he's one of the more impactful defensive tackles in the NFL when he's healthy. How long do you think he's going to have to wait to find a new home?
No, not if he's healthy, not long. I mean, if doctors come back from these teams and say, hey, this guy's going to be out half the year, but he'll be back after that, he's going to sign. Now, look, I heard that same thing, and not that I personally heard it, but I heard Adam Schefter telling Pat McAfee that. Look, with all due respect to Adam Schefter, who is one of the top insiders in NFL history, I have questions about how true that is. I mean, just because, look, there's a lot of guaranteed money riding right now, right? I mean, the Raiders are going after 35.2, I think it is, million in guaranteed money. And, when that happens and you have that kind of money, you're going to get some weird stories. And I'm not saying it's not. So maybe it is. I have not investigated this one iota. I have no clue if it's true or not true. But, look, it strikes me as like Wilkins kissed the guy in the forehead and then the guy went berserk. Like, it's just, I don't know. I mean, maybe, I guess, right? I mean, it's possible, but it also seems kind of odd on both ends. But in any event, listen, the bottom line is Wilkins is a tremendous talent. He got a $100+ million contract for the Raiders because of his talent. And nobody thought that was a massive overpay when he got it. It was like, yeah, that's about what he's worth. So, yes, I think that as long as the foot's good or going to be good soon, yeah, I think he's going to get signed pretty quickly here.
Last thing, Matt, we got about 30 seconds for this one. Another AFC West note. The Denver Broncos and wide receiver Courtland Sutton are in agreement on a 4-year extension, $23 million a year average annual value. Do you like the deal from the Broncos' perspective? And from Sutton's perspective, what do you expect from him for the life of that deal?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he's going to be good for at least another couple of years. I don't mind it for Denver. $23 million a year is not top-tier money. It's like number 2 receiver, high number 2 receiver. And look, Sutton is in that age 30 range, so I get it. If you're Denver, you're giving him a little bit of extra length, but you're taking away a little bit on the AAV. I've been driving all day. I haven't seen how much guaranteed money he got, if that's even out. But look, I think it's fine. It's just Sutton. It's a great payday for one more go around of the contract. And for the Broncos, it's locking in your really only proven receiver at this point.
Matt Verderam covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated, SI.com, That Football Show on the KC Sports Network, and the Matt Verderam Show on Patreon. He joins us every Monday here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, enjoy suburban Indianapolis. We'll talk to you again next week.
A wonderful place. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you very much. That is Matt Verderam, and we will step aside for a break, come back and wrap up this 3 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk after this. Our thanks again to Matt Verderam. Great insight on the Chiefs in the National Football League, as always, here on 580 Sports Talk. Real quick, before we wrap up the hour, I want to pivot back to what we talked about at the very top of the show, the 2-year contract extension for Seth Lugo. We had a question in from the text line. You can text the show 785-272-9429. The question from the 785, could Lugo have been extended so the Royals could trade him for more than just being a rental piece with the rest of the staff the way it is? Why extend him without having a full usable pitching staff for the stretch run? I think your second question is a fair one. Let me assure you, if there is a contract extension signed in the middle of a season, that is because the player wants to play for that team.
Yep.
No team is going to look a player in the eye and say, hey, we want to do a contract extension with you so that we might trade you in 3 days. You can't do business that way. Like, that's kind of thing maybe you could make work in out of the park baseball, but you can't do real live business with human beings that way.
You also can't have a press conference for him.
Yeah,
you're gonna do that.
Yeah, I do not. Like, I understand the thought process where that question comes from, because yes, Seth Lugo would have been more valuable on the trade market had he had a guaranteed 3rd year and not the player option that he's likely to decline. That's 100% correct. But a player is signing an extension with a team he wants to be on, and so the Royals want him. Lugo wants the Royals, and that's the relationship for at least 2 more seasons after this one. Coming up at the 4 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Matt Nagy, Kris Klieman. Lots of football talk coming up. 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on this Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our video streams. Our YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk. Our Facebook page is WIBW News. Again, however you're checking out the program, whenever you're catching the show, whether you're listening live or catching up on the archive or a podcast version of the program, thanks for listening. Thanks for taking part. We appreciate you here on 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you until 6 o'clock, at which point we will hand off to the Royals Baseball Network. Royals and Braves for a 3-game series at the K. The Braves ready to pull the ripcord on 2025. Although, if their activity on the trade market is any indication, they are loading for bear to try to win the 2016 National League East because they have acquired both Eric Fedde and Carlos Carrasco in minor deals this weekend.
Good old Eric Fedde. Do you know what Eric Fedde did 3 weeks ago?
I know he pitched like ass against the Rockies like 8 weeks ago, and then he got DFA'd.
No,
I haven't been keeping track of Eric Fedde.
So, well, before this happened, before he went into a bad stretch, he went 8 innings, gave up 1 hit, and struck out like 8 against the Nationals about 4 weeks ago.
Clearly, that
was the
lightning in a bottle the Braves are trying to capture. They are 15 games under 500. What in the world? I thought they might win the National League. I mean, I thought they had a chance. If it was in the non-Dodger division, I thought they had as good a chance as anybody. But yeah, they're a mess, and certainly these next 4 days are going to be busy ones for their front office, as they will certainly look to trade some players. Marcell Ozuna doesn't even play for them anymore. Basically, he's certainly going to be on move. Yeah, they benched him.
They've lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, they are.
This is a spot.
I lied. They're 16 under 500. They lost last night. Baseball Reference must not have updated when I was looking this morning.
The Royals are in a spot that they could really throw the wrench down on the on the Braves this week.
I think that's already been done.
Yes, but throw it into.
They are 17
oblivion.
Games out of first place.
They were expected to contend.
Yes, they
the 2 other teams at the bottom, including mine, wasn't really expected to contend.
I had them. You said 2 other teams at the bottom. Miami, 6 whole games clear of Atlanta.
But under 500.
Amazing what's happening.
The other 2 teams under 500.
6:40 first pitch, 6 o'clock pregame tonight on the Royals Baseball Network. We'll have a preview of that one a little bit later on in the show today. Also, still to come on today's show, our first training camp report with the great Mitch Holtis. The voice of the Chiefs will join us at 5:25 this afternoon. And we will get Mitch's perspective on training camp every day for the next month here on 580 Sports Talk. And, of course, we'll start by hearing from the head coach, Andy Reid. Excited to hear from Mitch in what has already been an eventful and interesting camp. We'll start this hour there. We'll hear from Matt Nagy here in just a little bit. But excited to have Mitch Holtis joining us for our first training camp report of the 2025 training camp. That's coming up at 5:25. Also, later this hour, we're going to hear from Kris Klieman. He spoke to the media early today. We'll play you some choice cuts from his press availability. We won't play you the full 26 minutes. It's out there on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube. It'll be on K-State Sports Facebook. Live streamed it if you're on Facebook. You can watch it there. I think you can hear it on their website, kstatesports.com. But we'll play you some choice cuts, what I thought were the more interesting question and answer exchanges, or some of the more interesting ones from Kris Klieman's press conference, his first one of the fall earlier today. We've also got What Is Wrong With You still coming this hour as well. Plus, your interaction with the program. Want to hear from you. 785-272-9429 is the number. 785-272-9429. You can also get at us in the YouTube comments, where we have a couple of Braves fans, it looks like. Cameron and Casey weighing in. Casey's going to the game tonight, says go Braves. So Cameron, frustrated with the state of his Bravos this year, as you'd understand. But appreciate hearing from you no matter what team you root for. In the YouTube chat, if you are watching on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hop in that live chat. We want to hear from you throughout the show today. You can do it there and again on our text line, 785-272-9429. Training camp continues for the Kansas City Chiefs. Pads have been on each of the last 2 days. Chiefs have been able to avoid to this point, and I'll go ahead and knock on wood so y'all can do it if you'd like, but I'll do it for you if you're unable, if you're not around any piece of wood to knock on. There it is. The Chiefs have stayed largely injury-free thus far. There was a momentary scare with Omar Norman-Lott yesterday, a tweaked ankle, but he returned to practice, and he was back today, no issues. Christian Fulton's the only PUP list player who hasn't yet returned to practice. That means Jawan Taylor is back. Trey Watson, the tight end, is also back at practice. Darius Rush, cornerback, and tight end Jake Brenningstool did not practice players, DNPs today, you would call them. Neither practiced with some injuries. Brenningstool's been dealing with something since minicamp in the summer. Might be a hamstring. Nobody's really sure. I haven't really heard one way or another on that. But disappointing for the UDFA, who's fighting for a roster spot at tight end. Robert Tunyon's had a couple of good days in a row by all accounts. Might be moving ahead of Brenningstool if indeed the Chiefs go to 4 tight ends. And even if they go to 3, there are some out there who said Tunyon's been better than Jared Wiley at practice since the pads went on. So that's the injury news, which the less news of that variety there is, then the better off things are. The biggest thing that stands out about camp so far, and we talked about this with Matt Verderam, and we'll talk about it as we go with Mitch Holtis on our training camp reports. The rookie class looks like it could be very impactful in 2025. And you want to be careful about overreacting to anything in the first week of training camp. It's just practice after all. You've got to be careful. And of course, if it looks like rookies are going harder, well, yeah, it's their first camp. It's their chance to make an impression. They might have a little extra gear in the first week of practice that, you know, a 5 or a 10-year veteran might be saying, all right, hey, gear down there, big shifter. It's first week of camp. You not going to make the Hall of Fame first week of training camp. So, again, grains of salt here. But a lot of rookies are making very good first impressions, and no one is making a better first impression than Josh Simmons. With Jawan Taylor back healthy, Simmons has remained the first choice left tackle, with Taylor rotating with Jalen Moore over at right tackle. This is Josh Simmons' job to lose. And barring an injury setback, barring some discomfort once he gets to game speed with that recovering injury, or with that recovery from the injury that he suffered last year at Ohio State, when the Chiefs take the field week 1, Josh Simmons is going to be the left tackle. And again, I think it is so easy to overreact to camp film, but on the same token, did you see him throw Ashton Gelati like a rag doll during a rep earlier today? He tossed him aside like if it would look like what he would do to me. And Ashton Gelati's a lot bigger and stronger than me. Josh Simmons appears to be the genuine article. Looks the part, Matt Verderam said when we talked to him in the 3 o'clock hour. Sometimes good franchises, consistently successful, that's what I'm looking for, consistently successful franchises are consistently successful because they're smart and they're savvy, and sometimes you get a little break. And Josh Simmons being available at number 32, if it goes the way it has started, is going to look like one of the all-time great breaks in the middle of this ongoing Chiefs dynasty. A left tackle of that caliber is never available at number 32 overall. This one was because of the nature of the injury, the torn patella tendon that he suffered last year. I said it repeatedly. I don't know, guys. That's a nasty injury. It's hard to return at full strength. It's hard to be the same guy returning from that injury. I don't know how enthusiastic I am about the idea of committing a position that has been a position of difficulty, position the Chiefs have had trouble filling since Eric Fisher left, a position they've had trouble filling for the long term, to a guy coming off of such a significant injury. But Josh Simmons has passed every physical test with flying colors. He wasn't as limited as anybody feared during the summer workouts, rookie camp, OTAs, mini camp. He's not limited at all here in training camp, and he's throwing dudes. This was a guy who everybody thought was a top 10, top 15 in the draft talent. He was there at 32 because front offices in the NFL are full of dopes like me who were worried about his recovery from this knee injury. And he's making it look like nothing to worry about. Again, we haven't seen it game speed yet. We haven't seen him, 70 snaps at game speed. How's it feel on the Monday afterward, right? Like, that's going to be the big test, ultimately, when he gets out there and takes some real live fire. But this could not be going any better. It's July 28th, but to this point, it is the 99th percentile outcome for what this could have been for the Chiefs drafting Josh Simmons. And it's on a path towards the Chiefs solidifying left tackle, not just for this season, but for the foreseeable future, and taking a position that they've had to ham and egg it. They had to start a left guard in that spot in the Super Bowl. They had to trade a first-round pick to get a guy who they did not give a second contract to. They have really struggled and really battled with finding the long-term solution. You want your quarterback to have his left tackle. Every great one has their left tackle. Is Josh Simmons Patrick Mahomes' left tackle? It sure looks like it. Could not be better early indications. But he's not the only rookie, right? We talked about Omar Norman-Lott a good bit last week, but Jalen Royals is having a nice showing in camp and certainly looks like a Rashee Rice type receiver, which means that his opportunities will be limited by or dependent on Rashee Rice's availability. But there's already a little rapport in 11 on 11 full pads with Mahomes and Royals that you like to see. Noel Williams is seeing some time with the ones. Gelati, as mentioned earlier, saw some time with the ones as well. This is a rookie class where it feels like every pick is going to make the 53. That's not the case, usually. A lot of times you try to slip that 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. Yeah. Last year was C.J. Hansen on the practice squad. Hunter Norzad was on the practice squad. 6th, 7th round picks, those guys, they slipped through to the practice squad. It feels like all of these guys down to Brashard Smith are going to make the 53, and there's a spot for them to potentially contribute. Even if it's only special teams for a guy like Jeffrey Bassa, this looks like a very impactful rookie class, and that is super exciting. Matt Nagy's fired up about what he's seeing, naturally. He gets to work with Patrick Mahomes every day. Why wouldn't he be fired up? Let's hear from the Chiefs offensive coordinator. He spoke to the assembled media in St. Joe earlier today. Here's what Matt Nagy had to say.
Yeah, hope everybody had a good summer. Go ahead. I did, yeah. Yeah, it was great. Got to get some time off, play a little golf, and get back at it. So. Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's you got to OTAs again, like a lot of these rookie wide receivers, we put a lot on them, and I think that he's grown from OTAs till now in the summertime. He's been able to really there's some little things he's doing within his routes, whether it's in zone or winning versus man. So he's doing some good things. We want to keep making him grow, leading through what he sees. I think he's a visualizer, so when he sees it, it takes him one time, then the next time he comes back and does a good job.
How much of that is also applied to Tyquan Thornton? Obviously not a rookie, but he's getting a lot of reps there with the ones.
Very similar. I really like where he's at. He came in last year about halfway through the season, and there's a lot to this offense. We do a lot of stuff, and I think verbally these guys, when they come in here, they want to make sure that they're just lining up the right way. What that does is it slows them down when they play. So now that he's had a little bit more time to marinate in this offense, he comes here now during the summertime, and you can see he's playing a lot faster, and we're getting to see what he can do. It's been exciting for him. Who's that?
You just keep passing in general.
Yeah. No, that's been a focus for us. I think we all talk about last year and how it went, as far as the lack of explosives, being able to figure out, okay, where's that start at? What are we doing, making sure we're doing our job as coaches? What are the players doing, putting it all together? And without a doubt, that's been an emphasis, and we want to speak it into existence. It starts with teaching it and making sure the guys understand it. And then when we get out there to practice, we execute it.
I know it's still relatively early for camp, but what's
probably, this is the first time that it's been after a Super Bowl loss for me that I've seen them. So, like, right after the Super Bowl loss, all of us, we take it very personally. But I think there's a level to it as well where you're careful of not making sure it's like some deal where you're focused so much on what happened last year that you let it affect this year. That hasn't happened with any of us. And with Pat, we've gone back to a lot of the foundational stuff, whether it's mechanics, footwork, timing, progression, almost to like when he was a rookie again. And he embraces that. He wants that. So it's important for us to stick to that, but then also continue to never take away what he does so great. And I think you see it out here and what he's doing in camp so far. It's been really good.
I know you always talk about footwork with Patrick. How much of that is footwork connected to his pinpoint accuracy?
Yeah, whether it's opening up his shoulders, whether his feet are too close together, the rhythm and timing. Like the other part of this too that we talked about in OTAs is making sure that the wide receivers, make sure you get your depth. If you're a quarterback back there and you're dropping back and you're not ready to throw and they're breaking the route down too short, you feel like you're late, but it's not your fault. Or if then Pat starts to train his body to where his feet don't match the route, then you're off kilter. I feel like we got there too much last year, and that's what we're really trying to lock in on this year is get back to basics. Trust each other, right? Us as coaches trust the players trust the coaches, vice versa. We got great players in this room, and I think we as coaches have taken it personally to make sure that we have this aggressive mindset, and it's been good.
Now that you've seen the glimpse, what excites you most about Josh Simmons?
The glimpse of athleticism is rare. It's special. I like his mental right now, where he's at mentally. We all see what goes on out here in practice, but then we take it to walkthroughs inside. He's so laser focused and understanding from Coach Heck on maybe there's a mistake or a mental where his assignment wise he doesn't go to the right spot. So we repeat it and go through it. He cannot have enough of those. Physically, he's super talented. It's the mental side and it's the communication part with the left guard and the rest of the O-line. But I really like where he's at. He's a true pro right now, and this is just the beginning.
We're going to work our way across. We'll go not each side.
Okay.
Yeah, Coach, with Josh yesterday and really the specifics of being able to break down the first day of practice with pads, is there anything you learned about him, anything that stood out that you just wanted to maybe even get to be reinforced once the pads were on?
The biggest thing with the pads probably right now is some protection. We did a few runs yesterday, but protection-wise, just making sure that if he hears a check at the line of scrimmage from Pat or if he hears a certain protection call from the guys on the line, that it clicks in his brain to be able to make that execution in the play. And so there was a few plays yesterday where mentally he was off, but that's okay to see. Taking that now till today, which we haven't watched the film yet, but when we go back and watch the tape, did you make the same mistake twice or not? And that's where I think he's doing a good job with that. Probably the other thing, Matt, too, is there's a lot of that goes on right now because there's several mistakes, which is normal. Making sure you don't get frustrated and discouraged because of that, and he's excelled at that.
How's his anchor been just as far as to strengthen that knee?
Good. I really haven't noticed anything there, and that's a positive.
I asked Xavier Worthy yesterday about the game slowing down for a minute for that started the concept shit. He said it started at the end of last season. Are you seeing any carryover from that, last game of Super Bowl to right now?
100%. And I think you felt it probably 3/4 through the season last year. When he showed up in OTAs this year, he would come over to me a lot and just kind of talk through now what he's seeing on the second level with defense, not what we're doing. You know what I mean? So, like, if we break the huddle, these guys right now, these young, like Royals right now, he's trying to think, where do I line up? He's not seeing the defense right now. That's okay. That's normal. Xavier was there. Rasheed was there before. Now they're level 101, 202, 303. Xavier's 202 right now, in my opinion. And so he's seeing the coverages. He's seeing leverages. When you put his talent with breaking the huddle, seeing the defense, and now executing, now the next part is the timing with Pat, and that's what we're working on in camp.
We're going to go last two spot in camp.
Ask you about several of these wide receivers. Seems like a really good room. Is this as good a group as maybe you've had in a while here at this point of the year?
Yeah, for me, and not to take anything away from any receivers that we've been with here or anywhere else from me, this collective group of wide receivers from top to bottom is very extremely competitive, talented, and they're competing. They're pushing each other. I'll bring up a guy that right now isn't, I don't want to take for granted is Juju Smith-Schuster. Unbelievable right now with what he's doing as far as a leader in that room, watching guys out here in walkthroughs. He's taking these young guys and using his experience and giving his knowledge to them. And it's exciting because he's a great player. So from top down, we have a lot of speed. The guys have knowledge. They're smart. They play fast. They're tough. Now it's just the timing with Pat. And we're excited to take this, aggressive mentality every day in practice and then take it into the season because we're ready. We're locked in.
Last one,
Yep.
Going back to that mentality that you were impressed with by Josh Simmons, could you just kind of put that in perspective? Like, how does that stack up to maybe other rookies' mentality this year or years past that you've seen? How does he compare?
Yeah, I think he's really at the top right now from what I've noticed. Now, we won't know this until we get into the preseason games and then we get into the season to truly be able to evaluate where he's at. But right now, I like where he's at. He's doing everything he can possibly do at this time to accept coaching, to be able to try to be the best rookie he can be, best teammate he can be. And then you got to be physically tough, which he is. You got to be athletic, and you got to be able to handle, coaching, and he's done that. So you put all that together, I think the sky's the limit for him. All right, thank you.
That was Matt Nagy earlier today speaking in St. Joe. You heard about midway through that, impressed not just with the physical abilities of Josh Simmons, but also where he's at mentally, his grasp of the technique, grasp of the offense. Might be a special one. He really might. Early returns are really, really promising. Of course, we got to see it when the rubber meets the road. Guys have had good camps before and not delivered. Thought Kingsley Suamataia had some promise last year, and we saw how that went. But this feels different and feels very exciting to see what Josh Simmons can be. We'll take a timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you is coming up next on the program. Get to what is wrong with you in a second. First, some breaking news for the Royals from Ann Rodgers of MLB.com. It is as feared. Kris Bubic is out for the remainder of the 2025 season due to the injury that he has suffered, the rotator cuff injury, officially a left rotator cuff strain. The timetable just probably didn't work out. Again, even in a best case scenario, I mean, you do the math. When Cole Reagans went out, it was early June. Not expected back till late August. That's 2.5, close to 3 months. And there are only 2 months left in the regular season. So even in a best case scenario for Bubic's arm, you would have thought that it was probably pretty unlikely that he was going to be able to return to the mound in 2025. And given that he's already a survivor of Tommy John surgery and had already thrown as many innings as he had this year, 2 years removed from said surgery, probably for the best for Bubic and the Royals that they shut him down for the rest of the season. But that is, of course, a big blow to the club's playoff hopes. Kris Bubic out for the remainder of 2025.
Sam McDowell of the Star also says no surgery, just needs extended rest, and they expect him to have a normal offseason.
That's wonderful news. So
Yep.
it is. It's very similar then in nature to Reagans's rotator cuff strain, that it was not to the point where it needed surgery. But again, just the timetable for him to get back and pitch this year didn't quite work out. Maybe in the World Series. That's 2.5 months away. Maybe the Royals make the World Series. Maybe you pitch game 1.
Yeah.
Let's think on the bright side, because oftentimes what is wrong with you makes us not want to do that. What is wrong with you oftentimes makes us think the worst of humanity. Yes. What is wrong with you is brought to you by our buddy Mo, State Farm agent Ryan. Mo Winkle, give him a call at 785-273-1572. We've got 2 news stories to start a new week on What is Wrong with You. For my story, we're going to Kissimmee, Florida, where a man has been arrested after he beat up another man on the golf course because the other guy was playing too slow. And look, kind of get it. Like, not the violence part of it, but I understand frustration boiling over. There is nothing worse than when the group in front of you is playing too slow. And it's one thing if they're playing slow because they stink. Like, ain't none of us out there on a municipal course or a city course. Ain't none of us out there Scotty Scheffler, right? So I've got patience for people out on the course who stink, who are going to go out there and they're going to card their double bogey and they're going to keep it moving and they're hacking it all over the place and they're looking for lost balls. Like, I get it. There, but for the grace of God, go I. I'm lucky to break 90 most rounds that I play. So I don't get too wound up about the people who play slow because they're just not good. It's the people who play slow because their etiquette is poor, because they don't know how to act on a golf course. That's the kind of thing that will get me kind of muttering under my breath. Well, Jason Hughes took it a little too far. He attacked a golfer on a course in Kissimmee in June. He told Osceola County Sheriff's Office deputies he was upset with the pace of the man's play. The victim reported that he and Hughes had exchanged words on the course. According to the warrant, the man was playing with a friend in front of Hughes, and Hughes said he told the man more than once to hurry up. The warrant stated the bullying point for Hughes was the man talking to his friend while ahead on the green. Yeah, man, you can't socialize on the green. That's not okay. Hit your putts and keep it moving to the next hole. I understand some frustration. The warrant says that Hughes attacked the man unprovoked and punched him in the face repeatedly. Both men were separated by their playing partners. So if it was just 2 guys, why not pair up or let them play through? If they're faster than you and you want to go a little slower, just let them play through. Learn golf etiquette. It's not hard. Just be a decent person on the golf course.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Anyway, deputies said they found the man bleeding and bruised when they arrived. He declined an ambulance to the hospital. It was driven there by a friend instead. Officials tracked Hughes down with the help of the golf course. The club provided deputies with surveillance video and gave him his name based on the credit card used to make the reservation. He is being charged with aggravated battery causing bodily harm. Yeah, man. I get it. I get the frustration. I honestly do. But you can't go beat the guy up. You can't go beat him up. Maybe hit into him. No, don't do that either. I'm joking. Don't hit into him. That's rude too. Just ask nicely if they will allow you to play through on the next tee box. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, even on the golf course.
Yep.
Your story, Spencer.
Yeah, we're going to one of our favorite places in Florida, Lake Wales, Florida, aka Polk County. A man hired to do work at a woman's house as she recovered from surgery now faces charges after deputies in Polk County say he stole thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. The Polk County Sheriff's Office says the investigation began in early May of 2025 after the victim reported that $16,000 in jewelry was missing from her home in the Lake Wales area. The victim told deputies that only she and Jason Cunningham recently had access to the jewelry. Cunningham kept a low profile over the next 2 months, according to the PCSO, until deputies spotted Cunningham's vehicle in Lake Wales on July 20th, and they arrested him. The sheriff's office says Cunningham had 2 prior theft convictions in 2004 and 2008 and prior arrests for battery and drug possession. He now faces a charge of grand theft from a person 65 or older. Jail records show he bonded out on Saturday. Unfortunately, we have no comment from our guy, Grady Judd.
Well, probably should not have hired a guy with prior theft convictions to look over your house while you recovered from surgery. Yeah, you got to maybe do a background check on that.
Well, she may have not had enough money to do the background check.
That's scummy, though, for sure. Yeah, she could have sold some jewelry, apparently, and come up with the money for the background check. Who wins today? I'm leaning towards
I think your story.
Golf course battery. Yeah. The golf course, the birdie bludgeoning. That's the best I can give you. Vance in the YouTube comment says that gives new meaning to clubbing up. That's going to be our first winner. We'll crown a champion for the short week tomorrow. Semifinals Wednesday. July championship coming up on Thursday of this week here on 580 Sports Talk, presented by our buddy Mo, State Farm Agent Ryan. Mo Winkle, give him a shout at 785-273-1572. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. On the other side, K-State's at camp, and Kris Klieman spoke to the media. We'll hear from the head coach of the Wildcats on 580 Sports Talk next. It's 4:40 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer hanging out with you. Text line is 785-272-9429. Can also comment in the live chat on our YouTube stream at 580 Sports Talk. I want to go back to the text line. Text from the 785. We were talking about Josh Simmons, and right now the Chiefs look very fortunate that Josh Simmons fell into their lap at number 32 overall. The texter makes a good point that Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey also arguably should not have been available on the draft board when the Chiefs selected them. Any team would go back, take Humphrey or Smith. Time will tell with Simmons. Look, like I said, you have to be smart and you have to be skilled. You have to have the right people in charge. You have to have the right players. But there is surely an element of luck that goes into sustaining a long run of success like the Chiefs have. They were and you make your own luck, right? You're the team that feels comfortable enough taking the chance on a lineman with real skill, but that dealt with a career-threatening blood clot situation in college like Trey Smith, or dealt with a scary injury like a torn patellar tendon like Josh Simmons did. That's honestly a credit to the medical staff. And we've known for a long time the Chiefs have had a fairly well-regarded medical staff. Rick Burkholder, the head trainer, all the folks in charge of rehab. Remember how many people Patrick Mahomes shouted out week after week as he made it to Sunday on that bad ankle when they won Super Bowl 57 over the Eagles. So it's luck in a way, but also you make your own. And the Chiefs have proven adept over the years of making their own luck. From one Arrowhead Drive to just outside of Bill Snyder Family Stadium. I'm not exactly actually clear on what the street address to the indoor facility in Manhattan is. But K-State, hard at work, getting ready for the 2025 season. Farmageddon in Dublin is 26 days away, I guess, depending on how you count it. Today's the 28th, 3 days to the end of the month, then 23rd, 26 days away from the season opener for K-State and Iowa State in Ireland. Kris Klieman spoke to the media for the first time during fall camp earlier today. If you want to hear all 26 minutes, it's up at kstatesports.com, but we pulled some of the best of what Kris Klieman had to say to the media. So enjoy some comments from the head coach of the Cats.
What have been some of the more impressive position groups so far in those 5 days of practice that have you thrilled?
Nobody has me thrilled yet, which is typical that we're 5 days into it and we've had some heat and we've had our third day of pads. I'm excited about some of the new linemen that we brought in, as well as an excitement about a kid like John Pastore that is healthy and playing good football and just needs to probably knock some rust off over a year. We have plenty of tight ends that are doing a nice job. Overall, I think offense will have a good period. Then the defense will dominate a period or two. It's just kind of being consistent is what we're looking for, and which is hard in the first 5 days because that's the heaviest installation. So a lot of guys, especially the new guys, are swimming with what we're doing schematically.
How quickly, how well is Lincoln getting, with now practice going, up to speed?
Yeah. Well, I think mentally, just like all of our freshmen, you're swimming a little bit because it's a lot of install in a short period of time. Luke Wells tried to get him up to speed as much as he could in the summer, but our summer was a lot shorter than it typically was. So I'm confident that Lincoln throughout fall camp will continue to learn. He's with the biggest veteran group we have in the tight end room, and they all are putting their arm around him and helping him on the mental side of learning what we're doing. You can tell the physical skills are out there. You can tell of a guy that can really run, that can go and catch the football, that can, be physical at the point of attack on contact. It's the technique part of it. But, Link's, I think he's 240 pounds. So, he put on some great weight from the end of track season to where we're at now.
Going into fall camp, you had some questions about the depth chart along the offensive line. You had sorted out left tackle in the spring, but now you've got that situation. What is your tackle depth like right now?
Well, that's where, and we've talked about this for a while at different times, where John Pastore, getting him back. John was going to probably play 50 snaps a game last year until he got injured in fall camp. And so he's playing left tackle right now. Terrence Enos is playing right tackle. Liney's playing right and left tackle. Gus Hawkins is playing some right tackle. Drake Beckwith's playing left tackle. So we have some guys there that are providing some depth. JB Nelson playing guard helps Liney be able to be pushed out to some different spots. But I think the health of Pastore is what has us really excited about when George gets back, and George will be back. But when he gets back, boy, we've got some other guys that all along we're hoping a guy doesn't have to play 65 plays a game, and we can split some of those snaps up. So we're down in general with our depth in the offensive line in totality in numbers, but that goes back to the house settlement and cutting a bunch of guys and not having as many guys come in. That's the reality of it, and that's an area that's taken a hit. But I like the veteran people we have up front right now.
Another position of, I don't want to say wealth, but you've got a lot of depth at defensive end. How's that position shaking out right now?
It's been good. It's allowed those guys to stay fresh. It's allowed those guys, we're cross training a Cody Stuffle being a Chidi Izor to play inside if need be. But no, it's fun to see those guys, and just the rotation that Coach Wyatt has with those guys really good. Plus, we've got to get more out of the Ryan Davises, the Toby Osensamnes, those type of guys on special teams, and I think we will. In fact, I know we will, because they're already a part of a lot of the special team stuff we're doing.
Another position of, I don't want to say wealth, but you've got a lot of depth at defensive end. How's that position shaking out right now?
It's been good. It's allowed those guys to stay fresh. It's allowed those guys, we're cross training a Cody Stuffle being a Chidi Izor to play inside if need be. But no, it's fun to see those guys, and just the rotation that Coach Wyatt has with those guys really good. Plus, we've got to get more out of the Ryan Davises, the Toby Osensamnes, those type of guys on special teams, and I think we will. In fact, I know we will, because they're already a part of a lot of the special team stuff we're doing.
Another position of, I don't want to say wealth, but you've got a lot of depth at defensive end. How's that position shaking out right now?
It's been good. It's allowed those guys to stay fresh. It's allowed those guys, we're cross training a Cody Stuffle being a Chidi Izor to play inside if need be. But no, it's fun to see those guys, and just the rotation that Coach Wyatt has with those guys really good. Plus, we've got to get more out of the Ryan Davises, the Toby Osensamnes, those type of guys on special teams, and I think we will. In fact, I know we will, because they're already a part of a lot of the special team stuff we're doing.
Confidence in the retooled receiver group carried over to the fall?
Still got a lot of work to do, honestly. And it's not just the receiver group. It's getting more from the tight ends. It's getting more from Devon, Dylan, Joe, the running back room as well, to do multiple things. And we can't be a group that can solely rely on our quarterback and running backs. We can't be a group that can solely rely on our wide receivers and quarterback. Man, we got to rely on everybody. And it's going to be one game. Our tight ends are going to have a really good game. The next game, maybe it's the running backs. Third game, maybe it's the wideouts. Okay, that's going to cause adversity. It's going to cause adversity. How are we going to fight through that when it does?
Avery Johnson, we've seen photos of him physically. He's different. How else is he different?
He's doing a really good job of holding people accountable, holding himself accountable, and never being satisfied. I know we're through practice 5, and I haven't seen the best of Avery yet. And I think he'd tell you the same thing, which I like. He's hungry. I've got to continue to improve. I got to continue to build that relationship with these other 3 wideouts, because there may be the guys that are in the game, or these other tight ends, or these other running backs. He's never satisfied, and I really appreciate that about Avery, because everybody, I shouldn't say that, a lot of people hold him on a pedestal because he's the in-state kid that has stayed home and all that stuff. You bet. My appreciation for Avery is there's so much more in him, and we haven't all seen it yet. He knows there's more in him, and he's not going to be satisfied. I think there's a couple throws he made today that I know he's kicking himself because he wants it back. and blames himself, not the wide out, not the protection. He puts that on himself, sometimes to a fault, sometimes too much. But I'd rather have that where a kid's taking ownership, and that's what he does, and that's why I love the kid is he takes ownership.
So that was some of what Kris Klieman had to say in Manhattan today as fall camp's in full swing for K-State. Couple of things to pick out there real quick. Number one, sounds like some positive news for George Fitzpatrick, the offensive lineman transfer from Ohio State, who had the health episode at the end of last day of summer camp for K-State and was hospitalized. He's been around the team. Sounds like he's improving every day. And to hear Kris Klieman tell it, they expect that he's got a chance to get back on the field for them this year. Maybe not day one starter at left tackle. There's been certainly a setback there, but they believe in John Pastore. They talked about him a lot at Big 12 Media Days, and they think he was a guy who was ready to step in last year and got hurt. Could be somebody who steps in and holds down left tackle this year. The other part talked about the defensive line needing to step up. That was so important that whoever edited that clip felt like you needed to hear that answer twice. But that was a very, very pointed regarding the defensive line and needing more from those guys, needing more production from that pass rush group, and also the wide receivers needing to see a little bit more from them a week in. You notice with the running backs, he mentioned the running backs by first name, and he mentioned Dylan as in Edwards and Joe as in Jackson. We all know those guys. But Devon Rice is a name that it sounds like you're going to need to know. He was mentioned specifically late on in the press conference. He is going to be a redshirt freshman this year. He's out of Las Vegas. He played in 4 games plus the bowl last year, did some kickoff returns, and did well in that role, and has a chance to be a multifaceted weapon for this K-State team, somebody who can line up in the backfield, can line up in the slot, do some things at wide receiver. Remember the name Devon Rice. I think he's going to be a much bigger contributor to the K-State offense than anybody might have expected based on Kris Klieman's comments today. When we come back, we'll continue our Chiefs countdown to kickoff and set up the 5 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. We are eventually going to get to some Chiefs players that are interesting to talk about on our countdown to Chiefs kickoff, but we are 39 days away from the Chiefs and the Chargers kicking off the 2025 season in Brazil. And number 39 for the Chiefs is Melvin Smith Jr. And I have to be honest with you. That was not a name particularly on my radar. He's a Division II guy, Southern Arkansas. And he is an undrafted free agent in camp with the team this year. There is always, without fail, a defensive back who shows out in camp and in preseason games. Always. And you find yourself wishing that guy could make the team, even if I think the defensive back room's pretty well set for the Chiefs at this point. Maybe Melvin Smith Jr. can be that guy. That's all I've got for you on Melvin Smith Jr. He's from, looks like he's from Bossier City, Louisiana. Do you know what Southern Arkansas's nickname is?
I do not.
They are the Mule Riders.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Division II mascots, Southern Arkansas Mule Riders. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, our first training camp report with Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs, coming up at 5:25. Stay tuned for Mitch, our first dispatch from St. Joe with the voice of the Chiefs, presented by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. We'll also preview tonight's series opener between the Royals and the Braves. And we've got some 580 Sports Talk headlines to get to, an update on Bill Self. MIAA Football Media Days were today. We'll go to the winner's circle as well. That's all coming up. Stay with us. We've got one more hour of 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW. Let's get it. Third and final hour on this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you until 6 o'clock here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And, of course, on our video channels, check us out on YouTube at 580 Sports Talk and on Facebook at WIBW News. At 6 o'clock, we'll pass the baton to the Royals Baseball Network. Royals and Braves open a 3-game series at Kauffman Stadium tonight. Royals enter tonight 4 games out of a wild card spot in the American League. And they will send Rich Hill to the bump for his second start as a Royal against Atlanta's Spencer Strider. We'll preview that one for you in a little bit here. Again, first pitch at 6:40 tonight on the Royals Baseball Network, right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Coming up in about 20 minutes, our first chat with Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, our first training camp report of the 2025 season. Delighted to have Mitch back with us. He'll join us daily on 580 Sports Talk, as has been a long-time tradition throughout the rest of training camp and the preseason. And we'll get our first chat with Mitch here in about 20 minutes or so. As mentioned, we will preview the Royals and the Braves as well. And we got our 580 Sports Talk headlines to lead things off. Want to hear from you. Text line 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us on the YouTube stream. If you're logged in, jump in that chat room, won't you? You can do it on the web browser. You can do it in the mobile app on your preferred device and interact with your fellow listeners. Build the 580 Sports Talk community. And we see your comments too, so we enjoy interacting with each and every one of you. Again, our YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk.
And be the 770th subscriber.
Oh, we're up to 769?
Yeah, we are.
Nice.
31 away from you and Brendan.
Arm wrestling
Yes. In the studio.
We had a new subscriber. We're adding up one every day. So like in about a month at this rate, it's going to be arm wrestling time.
Yeah.
So, but you can speed the process. If you listening are not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, go subscribe. Again, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Doesn't cost you a thing to subscribe. And one step closer to me and Brendan Wrzezinski, who is off today. Arm wrestling live on the show during an episode of 580 Sports Talk. Because we have Mitch Holthus coming up, we don't have as much time for 580 Sports Talk headlines, so why don't we go ahead and jump right into those. We will start with the press release we received Saturday from Kansas men's basketball. Bill Self was released from LMH Health on Saturday and issued this statement on his own behalf. Quote, "I want to thank all the amazing doctors and nurses at LMH Health for the excellent care I received during my stay there. I feel strong and I'm excited to be home. Our team has had a productive summer. We look forward to our batteries being recharged and prepping for this upcoming season." So Bill Self is full steam ahead after that procedure that saw him have 2 stents placed last week and able to return home from the hospital on Saturday. Again, continue to wish for continued good health for the head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks. But that, again, is the latest update there. Spencer, it was MIAA Media Days today.
It would help if I turn the mic back on.
Typically, yes. If you want somebody other than yourself to hear you, yes.
Yes, and Brendan will have some content on our website here in the next couple of days about the Media Days. But coaches poll and media poll are out. Washburn 9th out of 10 teams in the coaches and the media polls. Central Oklahoma, Pittsburgh State are 1 and 2 in the coaches, and Pittsburgh State and Central Oklahoma flip and are 1-2 in the media poll. Fort Hays State 3rd in both polls. Emporia State 5th in the coaches and 6th in the media poll.
So, yeah, pretty clear hierarchy of teams according to the coaches and the media. There's a slight difference of opinion, some flip-flops here and there. But Central Oklahoma, Pitt State expected to be the top 2 teams. Central Oak actually got more first-place votes than Pitt State did in the media poll, but Pitt State must have had more second-place votes, and you know how they score those things. Fort Hays State, Central Missouri also got first-place votes in the preseason media poll. They were 3 and 4. In the coaches poll, 7 of the 10 coaches voted for UCO. 3 of the other 3 first-place votes went to Pitt State. Washburn, as we mentioned, 9th in both polls, ahead of Missouri Southern and behind Western and Kearney 7-8 in varying order in both the coaches and media poll. Obviously, it's a new era for Washburn football. First-year head coach Zach Watkins, and a lot of questions with a new head coach and a program that had struggled and frankly backslid for the last couple of seasons here in Topeka. So I think a lot of interested eyes will be on Washburn. What are they under Zach Watkins? Brendan Wrzinski spoke to the new head coach along with a couple of players at Media Day in Emporia earlier today. Be checking our website, 580wibw.com, for that content. Of course, we will also play some of that as we go along this week on the show as well. Continuing our 580 Sports Talk headlines, we have more bad news for the Cleveland Guardians and more bad news on the gambling front. Star closer Emmanuel Clase has been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave through August 31st as part of Major League Baseball's investigation into sports gambling. Clase is the second Guardians pitcher to be caught up in the inquiry, as fellow right-hander Luis Ortiz remains on non-disciplinary paid leave. He was placed there July 3rd after unusual gambling activity on 2 pitches he threw for balls. Ortiz's leave has been extended, so both he and Clase are on leave through August 31st. In a statement, the Guardians said no additional players or club personnel are expected to be impacted by the investigation, or that there is no anyway with the sports gambling aspect. So what we have here is maybe the best closer in baseball and somebody who was going to be very much in high demand at the upcoming trade deadline had the Guardians indeed pivoted towards selling. And he's not going to pitch until August 31st, if not longer, if ever again, if potentially he is found to have engaged in gambling-related activities. He's a 3-time All-Star, 2-time winner of the Mariano Rivera Award as the best relief pitcher in the American League. He was 3rd in the AL Cy Young vote last season. He's given up more hits this year already than he did all of last year, but he's also had a better strikeout rate. He did blow the save against Kansas City on Saturday afternoon, giving up the 3-run home run to Jonathan India, but came back the next night and got the save in Cleveland's 6-4 win in the nightcap. So Luis Ortiz got snatched up in this because there was unusual gambling activity. There was found to be unusual gambling activity on 2 pitches that Ortiz threw that were the first pitch of a certain inning. If you did not know this, you can bet on the outcome of individual pitches, particularly the first pitch of a given inning. And there was increased and abnormal betting activity on the first pitch of the second inning in Ortiz's outing against the Mariners June 15th, and the first pitch of the top of the 3rd inning in his outing against the Cardinals June 27th. Unusual amounts of money were wagered on the pitches being a ball or a hit batsman from betting accounts in 3 different states, New York, New Jersey, and Ohio. Both pitches wound up well outside the strike zone. We do not at this point know how or why Class A is tied up. We don't know what the unusual betting activity, if any unusual betting activity, has been tied back to Emmanuel Class A's outings. I would think personally it would be a bit of a tougher thing to do with a relief pitcher. You don't know when they're going to pitch. You have to react to those things kind of quickly. If you're trying to get to somebody behind the scenes and say, hey, today I need you to go make me a bunch of money by spiking a slider on the first pitch of your inning, that's easier to do with a starter than a reliever, theoretically. But again, this is all speculation at this point. All we know about Class A is that he, like his teammate Luis Ortiz, has been placed on leave. He, like his teammate Luis Ortiz, also from the Dominican Republic. And I want to throw this out there. It sort of feels like there's a non-zero chance, because we have heard stories in the past about players' safety, players' families' safety being threatened in places like the Dominican Republic or Venezuela. Who was the Nationals player that got
Wilson Ramos?
Did he get kidnapped?
Yes.
Yeah, he got kidnapped. Like straight up.
Yeah.
He got kidnapped.
Yeah.
Yorvi Torrealba, former Colorado Rocky journeyman catcher, his son was kidnapped in Venezuela at one point. So is it impossible to see the hand of organized crime in a different country, perhaps, shall we say, coercing somebody from that country to, hey, just make us a little money on this one pitch. It's not going to affect the game. You don't affect the game. You make us the money. And if you don't, something bad's going to happen. Something bad to you, something bad to your family. Like, is it impossible to think that that is a scenario that is in play here? No, it is not. Yeah. Given the history, like we just talked about, where these things have happened. David Ortiz got shot. They tried to assassinate David Ortiz. Remember that? In his home country? They tried to assassinate that man. That raised some eyebrows, and we never really got a great explanation about what that was all about, other than there was a hand of organized crime there. So, look, I don't mean to speculate. I guess I am speculating. I'm not going to say I don't mean to speculate. That's exactly what I'm doing. But I don't mean to suggest that I think that Ortiz and Clase are entirely innocent. I'm just saying there's a version of the story where they would be. And in that version of the story, Major League Baseball has to admit that all that money they're taking from the gambling houses is money that they're taking from a business that is putting its players in danger. And that's not going to be a very fun press conference for Ron. No. So that's where the story stands. And certainly we'll be monitoring it for developments. But huge impact for the Guardians, huge impact for the Major League Baseball trade deadline, as Clase would have been very much in demand had he been put on the market by a Guardians team that is sliding out of the American League playoff race. Next deadline, let's go to Boulder.
Yeah, we are. We've been wondering the condition of University of Colorado head football coach Deion Sanders for a while. We knew something medical was going on. He had stepped away from the program for a little bit, and then he was at Big 12 Media Days and didn't really want to talk about it. So then we got a notification the other day that he was going to meet with the media Monday morning at 11 a.m. Mountain Time from the football facility, and that is he announced that he underwent surgery to remove his bladder after doctors discovered a tumor there. Sanders said that since the surgery, there have been no traces of cancer and that he will continue to coach this season. The doctor went on to declare him cured of cancer, adding that she doesn't use that word lightly. So good to see that Deion Sanders is getting in better health after what seemed to be a pretty big scare. And he also mentioned that Randy Moss gave him a call the other day. So
this was apparently serious enough that there's some, obviously the Sanders family does a lot of YouTube, puts a lot of content, puts a lot of their lives out there for public consumption. And apparently there's a YouTube clip out there of Deion Sanders saying that things got so dire at one point this year that he made a will. He was at a point where he did not know with any certainty that he was going to see this through and make it to the other side of this. It sounds like a horrible procedure to have to go through. Some of Sanders' small intestine was used to essentially create a new bladder, which is remarkable. I mean, man, I freaking love science. Man. Let me tell you, it's incredible stuff. But I will say this. Deion is taking this on with a great deal of humor. I have this quote from him from the press conference. Quote, "I can't pee like I used to. I depend on depends. I'm making a joke out of it, but it is real. It is real. If you see a porta potty on the sideline, it is real. I'm just telling you, you're going to see one at practice and on the sideline." And he is hoping that his public disclosure will spur people to get examined for all types of cancer, and that his humor about it will help those who go through the same surgery and recovery to avoid being embarrassed. And look, you guys know where I've stood on Coach Prime, the whole show. Never been a fan of his personally as a player, as a coach. Good for Deion Sanders for doing that. Good for him for being public, being humorous about this, and for encouraging others to get checked, get tested. This is important stuff. It's important for public health. And I'm rooting for his full recovery. I hope he stays cured. And I hope that whatever it is he wants to do, coach at Colorado, coach somewhere else, make Aflac commercials. I hope he gets to keep doing it for a long damn time. Good for him for beating cancer. Salute to Deion Sanders. Yep. Real quick, let's go to the winner's circle from the weekend. That was Bubba Wallace wins at the Brickyard. He becomes the first black driver to win a major race on the Indianapolis Oval. He had not won since winning in Kansas in 2022. It's also back-to-back wins for Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan's race team. Going through some stuff off the track as well. Hamlin won the week before. Great win for Bubba. He was emotional. You could tell it really meant a great deal to Bubba Wallace. So happy for him to get off of that long schneid and win at the Brickyard in the NASCAR Cup Series this weekend. On the PGA Tour, Kurt Kitayama wins the 3M Open at TPC Twin Cities. It's his second career PGA Tour win. Gary Woodland made the weekend, finished in a tie for 20, and with the FedEx Cup points he attained, he moved up to 75th in the FedEx Cup standings. He's in striking distance of the top 70, which you need to be inside of to make the FedEx Cup playoffs. There's only one more week to get FedEx Cup points. It's this coming weekend at the Wyndham Championship. Gary's in the field, so we'll be pulling for G-Dub to have another good showing. I think he might have to play really well. I think he might have to get top 15, maybe even top 10 to get in. But it's an outside shot for G-Dub, but he's got a shot to get into the FedEx Cup playoffs. Also, England defends their title as the best women's soccer team in Europe. They win the second consecutive European championship. They won in 2022. They win again in 2025. They win the title match on penalty kicks over Spain. We'll take a short time out here on 580 Sports Talk. We're coming back with Mitch Holtis, the voice of the Chiefs, for our first training camp report of the 2025 season. Stay with us here on 580 Sports Talk. .525 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you, and it is a privilege to begin another year of our training camp reports with the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holtis. Training camp reports are brought to you by Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and by Azure Credit Union. Contact Crystal Rippey, Kirsten McCall, or Naseem Khan about the Credit Union Advantage for your next home loan. And Mitch, I want to echo many of our listeners when I say that as soon as I hear your voice coming through the other end of the line here, it's going to feel a whole lot more like football season is right around the corner. It's great to have you.
Yeah, some people aren't thinking football yet, but we never stop thinking it. But yeah, I'm like the birds of Capistrano. I just show up and here we are. So it's got to be training camp with our daily reports.
Yeah,
fun stuff.
We are very excited to have you back on, and when we do, it's almost like the start of a new movie in the Marvel or the DC universe. When last we left our heroes And we left them beaten. We left them defeated and dethroned in Super Bowl 59 by the Philadelphia Eagles. But one thing I've detected in hearing the players, particularly the ones who were on last year's team, talking about last season is, yes, it's a thing that is motivating, but no, it's not been a thing that has hung over them. It's not been a thing that has demoralized them. It has been just treating it like a fact of life. Got there, didn't win, now it's back to work. And I think it's a very mature way for a now veteran team to deal with the disappointment of that defeat and coming so close to making history. It doesn't seem like it's going to be something that hangs over their heads as we get into this 2025.
Not at all. Last year, the most asked question to me was, can they repeat, be a three-peat? This year, it's not about the Super Bowl hangover, and I will tell you there is none. The only way there'd be a Super Bowl hangover is the 7 years played in 6, or 6 years in 5 with some catch up to them physically, but it's still a young team. And the fact that Mahomes has played 21 postseason games in 7 years as a starter is pretty ridiculous. But this team, there is no hangover. In fact, I noticed right away, and we did a podcast on Defending the Kingdom with Matt Nagy all the way back in, I believe, April, where we talked about infrastructure or looking at your assets. And this team kept the core of this team together. The coordinators are all still here. Head coach is still here. You've got the best quarterback in the league still here. The tight end is the best that's ever played the position, coming back at least one more shot. You retained 14 of 28 free agents. You signed 9 new free agents. A really good 2025 draft class with 7 guys. And then some undrafted free agents. But I asked Coach Reed, and he said from the get-go, this team has been on point to try to return. There's no hangover, and it's not lost on him. That and the fact, and I'll listen to his comments because I'll give you a statement afterwards that may surprise some.
They've been great. They've worked hard. They came back with a certain zest for things, and I think we all felt it. I think them included. So I appreciate that. As a head coach, I appreciate that.
How much personnel evaluation is done here, leading to when you get to the final roster?
Every day, every play, every day, and so the players always know where they stand. If they want to ask, they want to know where they stand. And I don't want them leaving here if when we eventually make the cuts, them to never feel like they can't come in and say, "Hey, what happened, or what can I improve on, or where am I at?" We got it for you.
The fact that I think this team actually has improved. The rest of the division has improved. We all know about it. All the run. Broncos have an awesome defense added to it. Raiders got Pete Carroll and, good draft with Brock Bowers. And then you look at the Chargers. They're always the team of July. But this team has also improved. This Chiefs team has improved. I will tell you this. There are guys that have won Super Bowl rings, plural, that right now I would tell you will not make this team. The Chiefs have gotten better in the offseason.
Mitch, we were talking about this earlier on the show that it really feels like this rookie class has hit the ground running, and you've had a lot of guys getting some early first-team reps. And it's not abnormal to see players, rotate in with the ones, but maybe to see as often as guys like Omar Norman Lott and Jalen Royals and Noel Williams have been able to rotate in with those starters, to say nothing of Josh Simmons, who appears like he would very much like to seize the starting left tackle job by the throat every day in camp. This rookie class is starting to have the feel of one that could really be exceptional. And there have been some exceptional ones in recent memory. The 2022 class is going to go down in Chiefs history, but early returns are really exciting for this young group of guys. And that kind of leads to what you were talking about, where there are guys, established guys on this team that maybe don't feel like their roster spot's so secure because they got some young guys breathing down their neck.
The 2022 class is the reference point. The fact that there were 10 guys, not all drafted, some Jack Cochran was an undrafted free agent, but Dan, they're all still here. That's remarkable. if you get 4 guys out of a draft class that's still there 4 seasons later, it's really good. That's an A grade. There's 10. We have 10 guys. So they won't all be here in 26. That's just the way it works. But the 2025 class, because 22 is the reference point, already reminds me of the 2022 class. Now, you laid out most of the guys, but I'm going to give you another one, Rashard Smith. Rashard Smith was the wide receiver at Miami, transferred to SMU. SMU makes him a running back. He is a third down back. Got a ways to go, but a third down back that you throw a 6-yard check down throw or a 5-yard check down throw that becomes a 65-yard touchdown. This Chiefs team has more team speed. Hollywood Brown's back. We know about Xavier Worthy, but now throwing Rashard Smith, and he's electric. 4.39, and as a running back or returner, he could have an impact week 1 in the game against the Chargers. Ashton Gelati is another one who's been very impressive. And you mentioned the other guys. I think we got all 7 mentioned. Simmons is way ahead of schedule. He's taken every rep at left tackle since this camp began last week. He is way ahead of schedule where I thought he would be. Now, I'm trying to slow down here. He's not Willie Rowe for Anthony Munoz yet, but he's way ahead of schedule of where I thought he would be on July the 28th, to the point where Jalen Moore is now the swing tackle. You're not putting him in with the ones because after Juwan Taylor missed some time last week, he's back with the ones. But I can go right down the line, and you already did most of them. Jalen Royals started out like a ball of fire this spring. Then he backed up. Did not have an awesome mandatory minicamp, but he has been on fire this training camp because he's got this acumen to him. I'll feature these guys later on in the month, but dead on here. These 7 rookies could all have an impact as soon as week 1 in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Mitch Holtis is our guest, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. This training camp report presented by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. You also spoke to continuity, Mitch. A lot of guys returning from last year's team that won their 3rd straight AFC championship, and 2 important pieces in particular received long-term contract extensions within the last month. Trey Smith at right guard, George Karlaftis off the edge. And these guys are not just core players. They feel like core people. They feel like intentionally chosen players that you can build a culture and maintain a culture around. I know you've spoken glowingly in the past about the kind of guy Trey Smith is. George Karlaftis, by all accounts, seems to be an absolutely outstanding guy to have in the locker room. How important is that aspect of it when you consider not just their production and what the Chiefs are hoping to get production-wise from these guys, double-digit sacks from Karlaftis, all-pro from Trey Smith, but the kind of people that you maintain this winning culture with?
It is the infrastructure I keep talking about, and it's cliche to talk about culture. It's business to talk about it, but the Chiefs have it. They are lug nuts. They are lug nuts on the wheel, and they do so much more than just perform on the field. And so you nailed it with these guys. But then you go back to get Nick Bolton and his deal redone, that you keep him in the center of the defense. You get Charles Menahu back, who, if he stays healthy, if he, with Karlaftis and Chris Jones, could be formidable up front, if that's spectacular. And so you kept guys that you wanted to keep. And to lay out guys that are leaders, like you mentioned, and Nick Bolton I would put in there too, that all of a sudden now you've got this force. You've got the nucleus of your atom in place that has been the winningest team in the NFL over a span of 10 years. Not just the NFL, but all of the NBA and MLB, 75% win percentage. That's this infrastructure culture of winning that's hard to do in a setup where it's difficult to win. It's not set up to win consistently. But those guys that you mentioned, and to get them back and not have them be on other teams is a very key point. And what I'm trying to tell everyone is that this Chiefs team may not have a better record, but they could have a better team.
We're joined by Voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis here for the training camp report. Those are brought to you by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. And Mitch, a lot was made last year in training camp about Kingsley Suamataia. Then, unfortunately, disappointed. When he moves over to this guard position, seems to have done pretty well towards the end of the year. How's he looking at training camp as he continues this transition to guard?
Yeah, his best game was that JV game where they had to play against the Chargers. Kept the starters out. I would say not that he's moving and progressing. He's not progressing as fast as Josh Simmons at left tackle, and we know about the other three. So I would say Kingsley is doing okay, but the next 2 weeks I think will be critical for him to see and do the climb that Simmons is making. He's athletic. If he does make it at left guard, you have got a young offensive line, for the most part, put together that could be a force for years to come. So to answer your question, I would tell you it's a blank sheet of paper to me right now. I'm seeing him move forward, but there's room to grow here.
Switching sides to the defense, Christian Fulton obviously missing out due to a knee injury, but a lot of guys getting time run at that other cornerback position opposite Trent McDuffie. One of them, Najee Johnson, coming off that knee injury last year, first full year back, and he seems to be kind of throwing away maybe some of that bad tape that he had last year and looking to prove that he can still be a corner on this team.
Well, you've pinpointed now that if you want to say concerns on July the 28th, it would be, and not concerned with Shomatia, just watching him. Just can he continue to grow? Because this team is set at tight end, wide receiver, running back. They're set everywhere else. The defensive side, with Fulton's injury, I think, and he's had an injury history. If you study him going back to his days as a tight, there have been some injuries there. But that, they're counting on him. They're counting on him mostly so they can put McDuffie back in the slot, in the nickel slot position where he is the best player in the NFL at that position. Then you got to hope Jalen Watson continues to move forward. Dan already mentioned Noah Williams, who's going to be in the mix. Najee has been good. I think he's gotten more criticism than probably deserved, but it's what do you want Najee to do? Is he Patrick Surtain the second? No. Is he Sauce Gardner or McDuffie? No. But he's a really valuable piece to this team. Then there's guys that people don't think about, or the safety corner combo hybrid guy like Tamari Kana, who can play the slot, but he's go to a big nickel, which is three safeties, two corners. And so you've got to put those guys into this discussion as well, because the Chiefs are probably the team most in the NFL where it's hard to pigeonhole a guy for the most part and put just number or letters by their name and say that's what they are. Because Connor's really a hybrid player, and he's a big piece of this team in the secondary moving forward.
Mitch Holthus is the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs and will join us throughout training camp. Thanks to our friends at Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and as your credit union, where you can contact Crystal Rippey, Kirsten McCall, and Nassim Khan about the credit union advantage for your home loan. Mitch, it is great to hear your voice. It means football is right around the corner. We will look forward to tomorrow's training camp report.
One of the things about camp, and it's tough to be away from family when we do it this way, but you get a chance to have conversations in a relaxed setting you don't get any other time. Tomorrow, it's Patrick Mahomes. We had a chance just to sit down and chat a bit, and you'll get that tomorrow.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for the time, Mitch. We'll talk tomorrow.
You got it.
That is Mitch Holthus. That's our first training camp report. Good start to camp, glowing reviews. We get to hear from QB1 tomorrow. Looking forward to that very, very much. Thanks again to Mitch Holthus. We'll have him on tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. In the meantime, we'll set aside for a time out here. Come back. Pivot to some Royals baseball. That's coming up after we're done here on 580 Sports Talk, here on 580 WIBW. 542 on 580 Sports Talk. Thanks again to Mitch Holtis. What a great reference. You don't get the Swallows returning to Capistrano reference, do you?
No.
That's a very dated reference. The only reason I know that reference about the Swallows returning to Capistrano, it's an old song by Pat Boone. Well, it's an old song, and it's about a real thing. The return of the Swallows at Mission San Juan Capistrano. So it's a real thing that happens. Pat Boone did a song about it. That's what kind of made it a little bit famous. I only know about it because when I was a kid, Chris Berman used to do Baseball Tonight in addition to NFL Primetime. So he always had nicknames. You know, he had those, he had his great nicknames for players. And there was a fairly forgettable player in the late 80s, early 90s. And the vaguest memory of this player, former Blue Jay, former Philadelphia Philly. And his name was Phil Campusano. So Chris Berman's nickname was When the Swallows Returned to Campusano. And eventually I would go on to, that stuck with me for a long time because it was very ornate and it didn't make any sense. And I went and looked up what the Swallows returning to Capistrano was. So anyway, also, yes, mentioned rather prominently in Dumb and Dumber. Thank you to the, yeah.
I was wondering what that text.
Yeah.
Were they calling us Dumb and Dumber?
No, that the texter for the 913 was not in fact calling you and I dumb. They may have been. They may have been. We can't assume. But yes, the salmon. They get it wrong in the movie. Of course, they refer to the salmon of Capistrano, which is not correct. It's the swallows of Capistrano. But no, great, good text for the 913. Yes, that is great. Dumb and Dumber reference. Anyhow, baseball tonight. Speaking of Royals and Braves, I love the contrast tonight in the pitching matchup. For the Braves, you've got, okay, we have to address this for the text. Have you seen Dumb and Dumber?
Bits and pieces on TV. I don't go out of the way to watch movies like that.
It's a classic. It is not like, there are some people who say Dumb and Dumber is like an all-time Mount Rushmore comedy. For me, it is just funny. Like, it is not
no, we just got another text from the 913.
I used to like you. It's a top 10 comedy. It's a very good movie. It's very funny. It's very funny. It is very quotable. There is stuff from Dumb and Dumber that has survived the years and become, just when I thought you could get any dumber, you go and do this and totally redeem yourself. There are mocking birds. Yeah. Like those things. The bits from it that are good are long lasting, like forever comedy great.
So I will say there are very
not like at the top of my list.
There are
very good.
Few movies that were created before I was born that I would watch.
I understand. I get that.
Like if they're on TV. That's how I first saw Happy Gilmore. It was on TV. So
also, it is appropriate that we're talking about Dumb and Dumber because when it comes to the Royals playoff chances, Mark B with the quote in the YouTube comments. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, I know that. I know that quote.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that's it. That's just it. Dumb and Dumber is one of those that has endured because there are so many quotable.
Yeah,
it is certainly one of those. Like, do I put it ahead of like anything like Will Ferrell did in his prime run in the 2000s? Probably not for me, but it is very funny. I'm not a hater. I'm not sitting over here. Dumb and Dumber wasn't that funny. I got a sense of humor. We've been friends long enough. I have a working funny bone. Anywho, Royals and Braves. On one hand, you have Spencer Strider, the 26-year-old right-hander for the Braves, whose attack plan on the mound is, I'm going to throw it real hard. And occasionally I'm going to make it spin, but I'm going to throw it real hard when I make it spin. And then I'm going to throw it real hard for more. And he's done that to the tune of 89 strikeouts and 72 and 2/3 innings this year. He's been on and off the injured list. Unfortunately, missed last year due to Tommy John surgery. Just when it looked like he was becoming one of baseball's very best pitchers, he won 20 games in 2023 for the Braves and really looked on the cusp of being a year-over-year just stud. But as often happens to these max effort guys, the elbow blew out. And he only pitched 9 innings last year, and he's only made 13 starts this year. While he's still been good, he's not quite reached his 2022 and 2023 height. But he's a big, strapping right-hander who throws very, very hard. Rich Hill ain't none of those things. He's an old left-hander who doesn't throw hard. He's trying to get you out in front of that 74-mile-an-hour sweeping curveball. And it worked to a certain effect in his first start. Again, it should be said, a very good Cubs lineup. They allowed the 3 runs in 5 innings on 6 hits. Walked 2, only had the 1 strikeout. But only one of those runs was earned. It's just such a fun, like, man, I know I get, like, gushingly romantic about baseball on this program. I do. I'm a bit of a romantic when it comes to baseball. But a pitching matchup like this is one of the biggest reasons I love baseball. That Rich Hill can do his thing, and Spencer Strider can do his thing. And they're both the same thing. Like, at the end of the day, the goal is the same, right? Trying to get the opposing hitter out. But they go about it in the most opposite, strange ways you can possibly move. And I just think that's wonderful. I love that both of these guys exist, and both of these guys can ply their trade and be reasonably successful at it, doing things almost the entire opposite way. The lineup backing Rich Hill tonight for the Royals. Jonathan India is going to lead off and play second base. Bobby Witt Jr. is at short base. Pasquantino's at first. Miguel Garcia is the DH tonight, hitting cleanup. Salvi catches and bats fifth. Adam Frazier is playing third base and batting sixth. The new guy, Randall Grichuk, the other new guy, the newer guy, Randall Grichuk is in right field tonight. He'll bat seventh. MJ Melendez gets the start in left field, and Kyle Isbell center batting ninth. The lineup for Atlanta: Jurickson Profar will lead off in left field. Remember, he served an 80-game PED suspension earlier this season, one of several reasons why the Braves have failed to meet expectations in 2025. Matt Olson's there slugging first base, he bats second. Ronald Acuna Jr., I think he is my favorite player in baseball. I think he is the coolest player in baseball. Did you see him throw out the runner tagging up from second the other night against the Yankees? He caught it.
I think I did.
And then just, like, didn't even really load up. Just kind of and threw it on a line. And the third baseman, I'm trying to remember who the third baseman was now. I don't think it was Austin Riley. I don't think he was back to IL yet. But beat the runner, so the runner didn't come in and slide, and the throw beat him, and it was right on the bag. And it's just like, there aren't 5 guys in Major League Baseball more talented at every baseball thing than Ronald Acuna Jr. I'm glad he's healthy after the ACL tear last year. He's stinging the ball. He's hitting the crap out of it. He's batting third. He's the danger man in the Atlanta order. Austin Riley, the aforementioned, is back from his injured list, and he's playing third, batting cleanup. Sean Murphy does the catching. He bats fifth. Ozzie Albies, man, what happened to him? Damn, homie. He used to be the man, homie. Ozzie Albies, 219 with a 617 OPS. That was an all-star not long ago. He is batting sixth. Marcelo Zuna back in the lineup. Not completely buried. I think they might be auditioning him tonight as a trade piece. He's going to DH and bat seventh. Michael Harris, speaking of what happened to you, the guy was a rookie of the year a couple of years ago, and he has completely lost his plate presence this season, hitting just 228. He plays center field and bats eighth. Nick Allen is the quintessential good love no-hit shortstop. He bats ninth. Another series the Royals have to win. And again, their road to the playoffs, it's not getting any easier. Even with the decision to extend Seth Lugo, the road to the playoffs is not getting any easier. Not with the news earlier today, in case you missed it, that Kris Bubic is out for the season. They're going to rule him out with the rotator cuff strain. He has been trying to manage, but can manage no longer. Means Rich Hill is not just a curiosity, he's a mainstay in the Royals rotation for the foreseeable future, which means they don't need him to be a spot filler, a seat filler. They need him to perform. They need 45-year-old Rich Hill to be decent every 5 days.
Yeah.
It won't be easy against the right-handed heavy Atlanta lineup, but that is the task in front of Hill and the task in front of the Royals. We'll take a timeout, come back, wrap up with the final word. Final word time on 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis, take it away.
Yeah, I wasn't here in the first segment of the show to talk about the Royals, so that'll be what my final word is for tonight. I think you're JJ Picola, you're in a tough situation. Like you obviously want to be competitive in Bobby Witt Jr.'s years of his contract, and you also have a guy who you want to be a Royal, but you wanted to listen to some trade offers, and once those trade offers maybe didn't go the way that you did, you're like, you know what? Let's lock this guy in who wants to be here. You know he's probably going to get out of this player option at the end of the year. So I like what they did locking in Lugo for the next couple of years. Plus, I did just see from Aaron Rodgers earlier today that third year becomes official if he hits a certain amount of innings over those 2 seasons. So I like that because it's not an option on an ERA. It's not an option on this or that. It's an option on if he's able to be a solid starting pitcher and not miss time due to injury, you get that third year locked in. And I think maybe that third year, that'll be probably one of the final years he could be pitching in the league. I think it could be good for the Royals with Seth Lugo, but fortunately hearing the news about Kris Bubic, that really sucks that he's going to be out the rest of the year. But build with what you got, and I guess we'll be hearing Dallas Keuchel's name up here potentially here in a few weeks.
And it kind of feels like he's the next man up from AAA. Nobody else really performing it, and at the very least, Keuchel has the major league hitter for Cy Young Award, for goodness sake. Final word for me is this: if the Royals are going to be all in for 2025, for 2026 and beyond, I support it. Go try and build a team that's as good as you can build it. Because, again, the Royals have the kind of high-end talent you need to start building a contender. It's filling out the roster that the Royals haven't done the best job with, and unfortunately, their farm system doesn't leave them with a whole lot of recourse as far as building from within. So John Sherman is willing to spend the money and spend to put quality, capable, consistent big league talent, established big league talent on this roster. That's what the Royals have to do. If you're going to be all in, you can't be all in halfway. Team calls, they've got an outfielder, but they want Carter Jensen, make the move. No prospect should be considered untouchable for the Royals. If you're really going to maximize this year and the next couple, which is when you have guys like Lugo and Reagan and Walker, you have your starting pitching rotation essentially sewn up through next year and 4/5 of it through the year after that, go get the bat to supplement what is a decent, promising offensive core if you think Caglianone will turn it around ultimately, which they do. But you got to go out and get more offense. You've got to go all in, and all in is not a thing you can do halfway. Royals baseball's next. We're back tomorrow from 3 to 6. For Spencer, I'm Dan. This is 580 Sports Talk. Good night.